definitely the one and only EKSE. It's Lauren and Lwa, if you haven't guessed already. So I want to know, what comes to mind when you hear the word robot? Now, in a South African context, traffic light, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I hear the word robot and I think traffic light immediately, but that's not the kind of robot that we're talking about today. I wonder, do you picture maybe a metallic humanoid in a spaceship?
A little bit.
Or a little bit.
Yeah.
Like one of
but
those
also
little...
the South African one is just a robot. Like, the
Exactly.
after the robot, can I get off after the robot? Literally.
Exactly. But whatever you think, one thing is for sure, robots are actually here to stay.
Absolutely.
They're already becoming an integral part of everyday life, and we are joined in studio by Andrew Klazinga, a robot engineer and CEO at Klazrobotics, as well as Ebrahim Sadien from I Love Robots. So make sure if you have any questions, slide into our DMs, post on our Facebook page. We're going to be chatting tech today.
Yes, and I love that. Tech Wednesdays are literally my favorite day. Gents, welcome to the show, and
Thanks
you
so much.
for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, feel at the beginning of everything. I just need to find out, when did your love for robotics or engineering come into play?
Well, I started my career in IT, so all things tech. And then once robotics came on the scene a couple of years ago and became more accessible and something you could actually just get off a shelf, that's something that I thought, well, this looks like a great way to teach and train people around robotics and get them really excited about science, technology, engineering, and maths. And that's the time that I got into this, about 5 years ago.
5 years ago. That's fairly new, I think.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, the robotics itself is not that new, but the widespread availability of kits is what has really taken off recently.
Got you. And then when did your love begin?
Oh, just when I was a kid. So movies, you watch, Jurassic Park, Gremlins, Chucky, all the animatronics, when something moves and you go, how did that thing move?
Yeah.
And that kind of love. And then I started getting into computers in high school, and then I went to UCT and studied mechatronic engineering, which is robotics is a subset of mechatronics.
Oh, okay.
Oh, mechatronics, yeah.
I know exactly what that is.
I think that's what I love about Tech Wednesdays, right? Is that nobody's walking away from the show not having learned at least one new thing.
Yeah.
So another question is, what is the field of robotics about? Can you break it down for us and for the viewers? Are there different kinds of robots? What is robotics generally about?
Well, yeah, so you do get lots of different kinds of robots. The kinds of robots that you may be most familiar with is something that you see on the TV, for example. But
The beep-up, beep-ups.
Exactly
Those
that.
robots.
But one of the most common robots that first came out was industrial robots, while on a production line, assembling your motor vehicle, for example. And over time, you've got robots which are more autonomous, which can actually work on their own. And then you have robots which are remote controlled. For example, in the military, you have robots that can be used for bomb disposal. So there's quite a wide range and different use cases for robots.
And then now when robots come into play, most people think robotics and coding. How does robots and coding go hand in hand?
Yes, so think of it kind of like language. So right now I'm speaking to you. I tell you to lift your hand.
Yes.
The word comes up my mouth, comes into your ears, and your brain then tells you to lift your hand. So basically in a machine, it's the same idea.
Yeah.
Each robot has a brain, and the brain can do things, it can make things move, but it needs to know how to do that. So all coding is a list of instructions. Do X, Y, Z, and then as you get more advanced coding, you're very low level, which is move every little motor exactly a certain amount, to the point where you say, pick up this cup, and then the code tells it to move all the motors down to pick up the cup like that. So it's just a list of instructions.
See,
That's such a great explanation, explaining, because we don't always think how our brains work because they work so automatically. So it's actually a really good explanation. Now, when it comes, that's amazing to hear, but what would you say, what are the pros and the cons of robotics?
Well, I think one of the major pros of robotics is that things they can be automated.
Right.
Tasks that human beings shouldn't necessarily be doing, tasks that are quite dangerous and in hazardous environments. You could send a robot in to do that, and there's no risk to the human being or to the human operator. The flip side of that, of course, is that any technology can be used either for good or it can be abused. So one of the major discussions right now is about the use of autonomous robots in the military. So should a robot be able to make decisions, literally life and death decisions, without any kind of input from a human operator? So that's kind of the far end of the spectrum in terms of the abuse that can occur, but also the other side is the amazing utility of robots and robotics.
Yeah, and you speak about the amazing utility of robots. How can we see it in our daily lives? Because I know the young people out there, we have quite young viewers, they're probably like, okay, I hear you guys, we're talking about military, but how am I, as a young person, experiencing robotics in my everyday life? Am I going to Pick n Pay, maybe seeing some robotics there, or just in my general life?
So it's already everywhere. For instance, an ATM. If you want to define a robot, basically, a robot is three things. It is a brain, a processor. It's a sensor, something something so it can sense, see things that, and it's an actuator, something that moves.
Okay.
ATM has a brain, it senses your inputs, card in, and then output is it moves it, send the money out. Like that. So that's basically how robots work like that. So for instance, we've got now robots in smart cars, Teslas, self-driving vehicles. They've got robots now in making pizzas for you and food, or put into vending machines that move around. There are robotics for farmers where it can, instead of spraying all the crops, it targets individual weeds, saving money and time and weight as well. It comes into absolutely everything around like that. So anything that's simple can be a repeatable task done over and over again will be replaced by a robot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one thing I learned, that a brain and a processor are equivalent.
Yes, and
I think
coding
that's
is
very
like
cool.
the instruction to make sure that you get to the right place.
Look how much we learned, guys. Thank you so much. Don't worry, you're going to hear some more just now as well, so make sure that you stay tuned.
Absolutely. Remember, the Princess of Presenting is in the building, as well as Ulorizi. Usibu is also in the building, who's going to be chatting to us about how you guys can get involved right here on the biggest youth show in the motherland. Head on to our socials and show us up. Right now, though, Sibu, what's going on in your side?